Good afternoon, this is Taylor with Independence Aviation. Here at IA we pride ourselves with having an experienced instructor corps with extensive experience in all facets of aviation, including military, commercial, and general aviation. I recently learned that the F-4 Phantom fighter was being fully retired after 60 years of service. And it just so happens that one of our great instructors on staff here has extensive time in that aircraft. So today we're talking with Craig Nutting, Captain Craig Nutting, who flew the F-4 Phantom and, as I will say, will fly just about anything. First of all, what was it like the first time that you flew the Phantom?
The Phantom was, I flew after pilot training in the U.S. Air Force. So I had flown the T-37 Tweet and the T-38 Talon. T-38, pretty high performance two-place aircraft. Some are even converted to F-5 fighters. But the Phantom had huge amount of power, made a lot of noise, accelerated like crazy and full afterburner on takeoff. It just threw you back in the seat with a higher G loading than I was used to, and it was quite a thrill.
Great. In your and you served in Vietnam for us. Thank you for that.
Right.
Did you have a mission there that was standing out in your mind?
Well, our squadron at Udon, Thailand had 5 F-4 squadrons, each comprising about 20 aircraft. So we had 100 Phantoms at Udon when I got there in 1974, and I was assigned to the reconnaissance squadron. So we call it Recce, and that happens to be my personal call sign now, even when I fly my little RV-8. And you can notice on the nose of the airplane, it's a little longer than this is an F-4 C model. The D and E models of the airplanes were the versions that had the gun under the nose, the E model. This one has the cameras, infrared and optical cameras, all in the nose compartment area, as opposed to guns. And so our mission from our squadron was to get surveillance prior to a strike, after a strike, and by the time I got to Vietnam, Thailand itself, in 1974, the fighting up north Vietnam was over, and it was mostly kind of a mop-up of South Vietnam and Cambodia. I remember some of our more spectacular missions that we could view would be given a section of the Mekong River to fly down right along outside the capital city of Cambodia, Phnom Penh, and take pictures of the battles that were going on with the resupply ships coming in to try and resupply the city, and the insurgents trying to shoot them from the shoreline. The jungle of Cambodia covered a lot of their hiding places, so it was difficult to openly find, but we would be given coordinates, and then with the LORAN antenna, we didn't have GPS in those days, so we had a LORAN antenna here, so we'd use our LORAN best to navigate over jungles, so there was no like visual reference point to really know exactly where you were, but you could use your lat-long coordinates on your LORAN and fly tracks of to take continuous pictures, and then the photo intel guys would look at those in detail and find out if there's stored ammo or trucks or supplies that the enemy, then so it would just be the intel for our for the ground troops that we were trying to support there. And one of the most memorable to me was flying along the river, and we would our threat there was fairly low. When I say low threat, the MiGs from North Vietnam were no longer a factor for us. They were not flying in South Vietnam and Cambodia. And the AAA, which is the anti-aircraft artillery, the big guns that were used by the North to try and shoot down the fighters and the bombers, they did not exist. So we just had basically small arms fire, the troops' machine guns or something like that, which could do some damage if you were flying low. So we would always fly at about 4,000 or 5,000 feet above the ground, which was out of the range. So we could say, and we'd also get better coverage, camera coverage then. And there was a couple missions along the Mekong River there that we were visually watching as we were photoing these battles going on. So that was kind of one of the more interesting parts of my flying.
And yet you did have a 20-year career with the airlines.
Yes. So anyway, so I'm in the Air Force from 74, till then I got out in 1980 after my normal commitment time. And then I did apply to the airlines, and it didn't really make any difference. Whether I'd flown a fighter or flown a transport, they didn't care. So I got, in a sense, the best of both worlds. I got to actually fly the fighter, maybe 2,500 hours of phantom time over those 6 or 7 years, and I still got to go in the airlines for 25 years. Oh, so the airplanes, MD-80, McDonnell Douglas DC-980, the Fokker 100. We had a short time at American Airlines. The Boeing 757, 767, 777. Kind of finished off on those, flying international at the end of 2010. MD-11, and then subsequent to that, in the last few years, I've met some individuals that have had some need for flying some corporate jets, some pilots for them. So I've gotten a type rating in a Cessna Mustang, the Cessna 510, and the Phenom 100.
Great. And you and I have flown together, and what I really like about that is that you have this passion for aviation, whether it's the big iron, the little stuff, or teaching somebody to fly. And so we're delighted that you're part of the staff here at Independence Aviation.
Well, it's been a fabulous job and fun experience as, quote, a retired guy. I am having more fun now than I've had in a lot of years, because I've had an opportunity to, I think, share a lot of those flying experiences and understanding with new pilots, or even the pilots that are just coming, that are getting transitioned to a Cirrus, fairly high performance single engine propeller airplane, which is, to me, is exciting. It's the upper level of the propeller airplanes. And then I'm also still dabbling a little bit in some of the small jets, doing some acro flying with friends occasionally in my little RV-8, and still being able to pull G's and fly upside down, and join up with a couple other RV friends that have their home builds, and we'll do 3 and 4 ship formation flights out for like breakfast on Saturday mornings, and go somewhere, pretend like, and they're ex-fighter pilots too, so we'll pretend like we're a 4-ship doing strike missions, and we're just like little kids living it all over again.
Well, great. Thanks for sitting down with me today to talk about your experience.
Thank you, Taylor. It's been a pleasure.